What it is, guys, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming at you tonight with a special guest. Got a special guest with me. Introduce yourself if you would.
Hey, what's up, guys? You probably guys know me on Discord as JLX. I'm here with Pilk just to discuss some things. So
Yeah,
what
we're
up?
go- we're talking tonight about basically the future of Dokkan Battle. Mostly JP. This is eventually going to affect Global. We'll probably touch a little bit on that, but just to before we begin, I want to make sure you guys know there are going to be spoilers for Dragon Ball Super in regards to this. So if you do not want to be spoiled, go ahead, sign off now. You have been warned because we are going to get into some spoilers regarding some of the episodes coming out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even up to the end of the tournament. So you have been warned. I don't want to hear anything in the comments. Let's go ahead and kick it off. So we were talking earlier about, very specifically about mostly the units that are getting ready to, it seems like, have Dokkan Awakenings based on what we've got in the spoilers from the show. I guess we should talk about the show spoilers real quick. So we know that in episode 129, is it?
Yes.
Episode 129, Goku is getting his Ultra Instinct back, and according to the information we have, I'll put a link here on the screen from Kenzairo, but I believe they said that he is finally getting the full unlocked version of Ultra Instinct. It's no longer the Omen, the uncontrolled version. He's actually mastering it. Am I reading that right?
Yes. So at the moment, we know that Ultra Instinct Goku is just a side effect. And later on 129, he will master Ultra Instinct to fight Jiren at full power.
Yeah. So, if you guys remember, when we got Kefla, Caulifla Kale, and Ultra Instinct Goku himself on JP, that's when we actually had those units in the show. They basically debuted them. In fact, if recollection serves, I think they didn't even know the name Ultra Instinct necessarily. Kind of like with Rage Trunks, we didn't really get a name for that at first. Aside from obviously the card drop in Dokkan Battle, I believe that's where most of the guys got their name, and then later on, it was like the next episode, they actually gave us the name for Ultra Instinct, if recollection serves. Um,
Well, to be fair, that the Rage Trunks transformation did not came. His name did not release until Dragon Ball Heroes came out at the moment.
that's true. It was Heroes. It was Heroes. That's correct. But either way, the video games tend to leak a lot of this information long before. So what we're thinking is, we were talking on Discord about this. Probably about the time that happens, we have a ton of units. They're actually getting ready to release on Global, interestingly enough. So this will relate a little bit to Global. That have been dropped basically over the course of the past few months that all relate to the Tournament of Power, that are big characters that have all had their own interesting little arcs that never got Dokkan Awakenings. And some of them look like they probably should. Namely, obviously, Ultra Instinct Goku, who Global just got back in December, and JP's had for a while. What, since October? Basically, since 109 and 110 debuted. So,
Yeah, about like a half a year now.
yeah, it's been a minute. So it's about time they get a Dokkan for him. So now that he's getting the full version of it, it makes a lot of sense for them to drop a Dokkan version of that specific card. That card's already hype enough as it is. Basically, the Dokkan would just seal the deal on him. And what are his stats too? I'm trying to remember his stats.
Well, we know his defense is not that high, but his attack is really high for Ultra Instinct Goku. Just
Yeah.
the SSR version.
What was his leader skill again? I remember it was like the partial leader skill that you normally get from an undokkan unit.
Yes, his leader skill was Realm of Gods, Key +2, HP, attack, and defense 120.
That's right. So it's basically right in line to be either another 150 or the 170 mixed lead. So it makes a lot of sense. They're clearly holding out for a Dokkan on him. And he's not the only one. As we were going through this, we were all talking about these units that are getting ready to drop on Global. Namely, Tech 17, Kale Khalifla, of course. Um, you and I disagree a little bit on Topo, but Topo and I think that's it. I think those are the main ones that we were talking about that are getting ready
Yeah,
to
it's
have their
just
Dokkons.
Topo. It's just
Yeah.
Topo that we were like, he's a mysterious character at the moment in Dokkan.
Well, let's get started with him because he's kind of the card of the hour. So as I'm looking at Topo, I'm looking at the interesting way they've worded it, but he's currently a key +2 HP attack and defense 30% card unit. So and he's not on Dokkan. So obviously, when he gets a TUR, he'll be a key +3 and probably a 50% lead. Kind of a
Yeah, basically.
he's more of a support unit. Now I was thinking when he gets a Dokkan, how crazy would it be for them to give us the Haikaishin Topo? And I'm looking at the card art as it is right now, and I'm like, he's already surrounded by purple aura. It looks to me like that's what he's going on, but you have a different opinion on that. That's cool. Go ahead and share your opinion.
Well, here's the thing. We know at the moment Hakaishin Topo, he's basically a beast. This card, I don't think will represent him as Hakaishin Topo. What I was thinking is that they will make him a new summonable one as a Dokkan Fest, and awaken him with a event that involves Hakaishin Topo. Or we were talking earlier, this one will awaken to Hakaishin Topo with Jiren medals.
Yeah, and of course, Jiren's the unit we're currently lacking in the game. We'll get to him in a moment. Let's talk about these other awakenings real quick, and then we'll get to Jiren because Jiren is his own interesting debacle. So let's talk about Tech 17 because he's the first one on this list right here. Tech 17 is a Tech type key +2 HP attack, or not even HP, HP and defense, no attack, +70%. And obviously he's just a UR unit. He doesn't have a transcending unit yet. Way overdue for one. Now, you were saying you thought he would be a key +3 90% lead.
I would think we were talking about Kale for that one.
Were you talking about Kale for that one?
Yes.
Okay, well, what would he get, do you think? Because one of the mechanics that I thought would be absolutely perfect for him when he Dokkans is to have the barrier and then to turn him into just an amazing tank. Because he already has HP and defense. All he's lacking is the attack. Now, he has an attack passive, but that's not really good enough.
Well, I was thinking for his card is he'll be like a secondary Janemba, so he guards against all types because his shield guards against everything. So they could do that for him.
That's a really good point. That would actually make a ton of sense. So this is why you're the king. This is why I brought you on. This is why I bring my boy on, because this is the guy that brought me all the information on the Gogetas and the Vegetos and all that stuff. This dude is got some inside information. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I made it through every meta, including the days when SRs were actually necessary until SSRs became a thing.
I'm just saying he's got like a crystal ball. It's nuts. Now the next unit here is the skinny boo, the fit boo. I think we both agree he's not going to get much of anything. He's
no.
Yeah.
If they'll probably make him a joke and probably awaken him to fat sleeping boo.
Yeah. That'd be really like, I mean, if they did that as an April Fool's maybe, but that'd be kind of dirty.
I mean, April Fools, we could talk in a whole different discussion we could see.
Okay, we should actually have that. We should have that one next month. Talk about April Fools. What should they bring for April Fools? All right, so let's talk about Kale. I love our discussion about Kale because I agree 100% with you on that one. So Kale currently is obviously the physical type. Key +2, HP attack and defense 70%. You were thinking she was going to get a 90% key +3. That's kind of more like the LR meta. That would make her pretty much like LR Trunks, which is a little weird. But
you need to remember this, that her stats are already high enough as a 70% leader, so it would make sense for her to get a 90% lead instead of 100.
Yeah, I just see it's a weird situation because I'm like, what would she get? Now the one thing we did agree on is her card art. She's gotta transform into the controlled Caulifla, or I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Kale.
there's no doubt about that because that form is no longer useful
Yeah,
because until when Kale mastered it.
yeah. So she's basically just gonna go from that, and then let's see. So attack plus 100% up. I think we both agree is going to go up to 120%.
Oh yes.
Yeah, makes sense. Obviously, she'll get fierce battle and all that. And you were thinking she would get the peppy gals, peachy gals, peachy girls, link skill, which I was surprised. I'm like, she's missing, or not link skill. I'm sorry, category, which she's missing, which is weird. But
Well, at the time they did not know if she was like peppy enough. That's why I was thinking when Bandai was thinking about it.
yeah, I guess
Because you
maybe.
need to remember that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just thinking about
I'm,
what peachy
mhm.
girls actually means. So I'm like, yeah, I
I mean,
see it. I see it. I wouldn't necessarily wouldn't want to mess with buff Kale. She probably screwed you up
mhm.
pretty bad.
I mean, you need to remember that they're trying to make it logical on what these categories have, except the Shadow Dragon arc, because I have so much arguments on that. Why not adding Super Saiyan for Goku in that? I have so many much hatred on that category, but we'll talk about that
I was
on
gonna say
another day.
that's a whole other discussion. I agree with you and disagree with you, but we'll discuss that. So the
Hmm.
interesting thing about Kale, let's talk about Caulifla real quick, and I think that's going to go into the other thing we were talking about with Kale. So
Hmm.
Caulifla is an interesting scenario because she's already Super Saiyan 2, so there's not much for her to transform into as far as a Dokkan goes. So I think we both agree she'll still be a Super Saiyan 2 as a Dokkan unit.
Yep.
Um, but she is key plus 2, HP attack and defense 50%. I think making her a rainbow 70% lead would actually be perfect for her. And it's way overdue for a rainbow 70%.
Oh yes. I mean, for Kale, they I think they already thought about Kale I mean, sorry, not Kale, Khalifa for a rainbow lead, a good rainbow lead because she's already has like the Mass Saiyan TOR leader,
Yeah,
so it would make sense to make her a 70% lead for that one.
exactly. And it's massively overdue in the game. Massively overdue.
And
Um,
you need to remember this that Mass Saiyan and Arale are keep getting more irrelevant until when all these rainbow leads keep coming.
yeah. O'Reilly should get another awakening, but that's again another a discussion for another day. This is we should do this on the regular because there's a lot to talk about.
Oh
So
yeah, we can.
excellent. So the one thing that you brought up, and I really like this when we were talking about this before the video, um, talking about what would the transformation for Caulifla be? And you were saying her her super attack is kind of lackluster, and I'm not going to disagree with you on that one bit. You were saying, would it be cool if they had like the shadow of Kale behind her, just like they have in like the Family Kamehameha, the Goten and Trunks units, all that, and then
Hmm.
their super attack is the combo attack, the
I was
red green
thinking,
combo.
I was thinking for Khalifa super attack would be, I don't remember what episode was, but when they were doing the beam struggle with the Pride Troopers, that
Yeah,
one could be Khalifa's, and Kale could be the combo attack.
that would work. That would actually be the physical combo attack you're saying, right? So one's the
Yep.
beam struggle and one's the actual physical combo. That makes the most sense. But either
Yep.
way, when they transform, have the shadow of the other one behind it. I think that's a fantastic idea. If if Bandai does not do that, they are missing out on a fantastic opportunity. So I think that covers that card 100%. Oh yeah, and her 70% up, 70% attack increase. I would see that going up to at least 100, if not 120.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously, getting fierce battle added to her link skills. So I think that covers her. The only other unit here that I see is Bergamo, and I don't think they're going to do anything for him. I think he's just.
Also, we forgot to talk about Kefla because she's actually one of the most optimal for the tournament power.
Oh, you are right. We did forget to talk about Kefla. We didn't even talk about her leading up. Um. But I mean, obviously, she's going to get a Dokkan Awakening. We know this
Yeah.
because aside from the LRs they just dropped in game, and they're LRs, they kind of don't count in that equation. We don't have a Key Plus 3 that's an actual Patara lead. So she's way overdue.
And they can make her Super Saiyan 2 for her card art.
Absolutely. Totally 100% agree. What was her passive? I haven't pulled her up right now.
Well, I think she's a nuker, evades super attacks, and does double supers. Well, a high chance to do a double super.
So instead of a high chance to do double super, give her like Broly's, the physical Broly's like, okay, she's just going to do double supers after 10 key. That would make sense.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
I mean, you got to remember that this card is basically 3 mechanics in one. Janembas, Race Trunks, and I believe it was... Who else did I said was...
Janemba,
I can't remember.
Race Trunks, and Broly.
Yep, and Broly.
Yeah.
All 3 in one card.
Yeah, and it makes a ton of sense. Dude, she is going to be so OP. Oh my god. It's going to be... The Patara team at that point would just be unbelievably broken. Of course,
I'm going all out. Yep. And to anyone watching this, and you're debating to get this card when it comes out on a banner, summon, because she is guaranteed at least. And in her banner, there's only like 5 cards on that banner.
Well, we don't know 100% if that's going to be the case on Global, but if it is, hell to the yeah, dude. She will get a Dokkan. I guarantee it. Now, let's talk real quickly before we talk about Jiren. Let's talk about why we're talking about this. So, I think we touched on a little bit at the beginning. So, obviously, 129, Goku's getting his Ultra Instinct form. It would make sense for all these cards to drop. They're clearly working up to something in JP already. So, what we were thinking is have a big event, basically culminating the end of Dragon Ball Super. Kind of like have an end of Super celebration sometime in March, because sometime between the 4th/5th when this episode airs and what was the end date for the the end of March, the 31st, 1st April. I think April 1st is when the new show airs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna taken over by new anime. Yes.
Yeah. So 131 is the last episode. So, or is it 130? 132. 132 is the last episode.
No, it's 131. I believe.
31?
Yeah, it's 131.
Okay.
I think 131 or 130. Either one of those two.
I'm gonna have to pull up my calendar now. All right. But yeah. So either way, numbers aside, they're going to be working up and they're going to be doing something big for the end of this. I guarantee it. So it would make sense for them to drop all these like reawakenings, kind of like they did on Global back in December, where they dumped a bunch of reawakenings on us. They could do like a big post-Super or end of Super celebration, dump a bunch of awakenings, and then I was saying, what if they dumped a bunch of SRs on us, like some of the lesser units in like like Basil and Lavender.
The Pride Troopers.
Yeah, the rest of the other Pride Troopers. Nepapa. I freaking love Nepapa.
I swear, if they make one of these SRs like Hoi from JP, oh my god.
Yeah.
Hoi is basically the most OP SR in the game. Like, what in God's name did they made?
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, I'm looking at the calendar here. So it would be the 3rd, 4th would be 129. 10th, 11th would be 130, 131, 132 would be 24th, 25th. I don't know if there's going to be a hiatus in there. We haven't gotten that far yet. There's no real information on it, but either way, it makes sense. So you have basically a 4-week span where they could easily either trickle them out or do a big event or do something. So it just...
Also, you got to remember this, that Bandai is well aware that the Global also watches the sub from Crunchyroll. They know everything about this, so they could do this also for Global as well on the same time frame for this.
I don't know if they would. It would be super interesting because remember, we did look at it, and that's right about the time Kefla should be dropping, Kefla or whatever you want to call her. So it would make sense.
The thing is, they were tested this out when Gogeta and Omega came out, they test this out. How would people react if both games got the same card? Which we well know, all the servers broke down.
Yep.
So they know that this is it's capable. They could do this.
Yeah.
For a hype card like Jiren or Ultra Instinct Goku to awaken, they could obviously do this. No doubt about that.
I wouldn't hedge any bets on it, but man, that would be so cool. Now, we're getting a little long in the tooth, so I'll move it along. There were two cards specifically that we didn't talk about. Number one, we'll get this one out of the air because I know nobody's going to be a big fan of this. Ribrianne. There's no Ribrianne or Brienne de Chateau
God.
in the game. So we were deliberating over this, and I think we've come to a conclusion. This is right about a year from the point at which LR Hercule dropped in JP. So they could totally drop another friend unit. It's an SR Brienne de Chateau that Dokkans into an LR, another like joke LR like or even SSR for all it matters, like they did with Hercule. They could totally do that. What do you think?
Yes, I could totally see that. They would probably give her like the worst passive in the game, probably like the LR Yamchas. I mean, not the LR Yamchas, like the TUR de Yamchas. They could I could see them do that because she is a joke character in this anime.
Oh my God! And it's right there around April 1st. Oh
Yep.
God! Oh God! It's going to that other discussion, isn't it? All right. Moving on. The final unit we have not talked about, and you and I deliberated over this for a while, and I don't think we ever came to a conclusion. We do not have a Jiren card. Now, I'll put it up on the screen when this comes up, but there's a banner that was released a while ago on JP that showed all these units, every single one of them. Some of them were units we already had in the game. Was the Ultra Instinct Goku, the Kale, the Caulifla, the Strength Kaba. And there was Jiren in the background, and we still have not gotten a Jiren card. We were thinking about it, and it's about time we got a Jiren card. Now, initially, you and I were talking about this maybe being the second part of the third anniversary. But I think at this point it's pretty much confirmed that that's going to be a Namek Saga thing. So this would make more sense to be like next month, I think. And the more I'm thinking about it, it would make sense for them to drop a strength card coming up in on JP because every other anniversary's had a strength card. So
yeah,
I'm wondering then if that means Jiren is going to be the tech card. We were saying strength, but tech I think is the only one that's not pretty much ruled out at this point.
I mean, but you need to remember this: that tech already has Vegito Blue, which is no doubt the most powerful card in the game at the moment. Just to add another character that's OP, that team will probably be the most best mono team in the game besides int and physical.
Well, also remember, mono is kind of an outdated meta anyway. But I don't know. You make a valid point, but strength, I don't know. And here's the big question: is he going to be a TUR, or is he going to be an LR? Are we getting another LR?
I mean, I highly doubt we'll get him as an LR because they were probably testing these two LRs, see how people would react to a Dokkan Fest LR, which we all know it made money for days. But they'll probably need to make him a TOR first. I could see them making a Pride Trooper LR, which has Jiren, but not technically the Jiren that's got to release soon.
So you think he's going to be a UR?
TOR.
Yeah.
Yep. And you need to remember that strength really needs to be updated. I mean, yes, they have Vegito Blue, but they need something else on that team.
We talked about it too. Vegito Blue's kind of. I mean, he's a free to play. He's not going to have the best everything.
Yeah, and you need to remember that Ultimate Gohan, his links are horrible for that team. Yes, he's a good support for defense, but that's all he is. He can't super, and he can't even super on that team.
Yeah.
So what's the point of having him on that team, more or less, just for him tanking? I highly doubt that he'll be relevant until Jiren comes out.
Fair enough. That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, what would Jiren's what would his leader skill be? Because I think you and I both agree it's about time for a good. I think they have the free to play one. It's about time for a good tournament of power lead.
Yep, I can actually see that because if you look at the show, it's basically the whole show is basically around Jiren. The intro has Jiren. A lot of card art like heroes have Jiren. The DVD boxes has Jiren. This tournament power is based around Jiren. It would make sense that he would be the leader for this category.
Yep. And Jiren's the reason Goku unlocked his new form and everything. So yeah, I mean it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm
Mm-hmm.
with you on that one. So we have forgotten one major card that needs to come to this that needs to come to Dokkan, and that's the new form for Vegeta. We completely have forgotten to discuss that, and we talked a little bit off air about our expectations on that. You were saying that you think that it's going to be just another Super Saiyan God SS like all the other Super Saiyan Blue Vegetas. Um, Elaborate a little bit.
Think about this. This is band that we're talking about, and they will not want like two of the same card to be on their team, on anyone's team. So they'll probably just nerf the team and just call him Super Saiyan Blue as always. Because if you remember when Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku came out with the other Super Saiyan Blue, but they couldn't.
Yeah, that's a valid point because then you would be able to use two Super Saiyan Blues on the same team, and that's a wee bit broken. Now, on that note, though, you and I were also agreeing that it's kind of we're overdue for an agility Dokkan Fest. It doesn't look like what's coming to third anniversary is going to be agility. If everything looks like what it looks like, it would make more sense to be a strength than something else. So it's about time for an agility Dokkan. I do think agility works for that royal blue or whatever you want to call that version of Vegeta. I don't think it has an official name yet. Would you agree on that?
However, this is why I also was thinking because let's see, the last Agility Dokkan Fest was Super 17, and nobody really pulled on him, so they didn't. I was thinking Bandit was like, we should not release any more AGL until it's good for an AGL unit, and this is a perfect opportunity to release agility unit.
Well, and like you were saying before, when again off air, it would be we need someone that links really really well with Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, but then again that kind of goes back to the is that too OP having too many Vegetas on the team. Same reason I was telling guys the other night. Yes, Goku probably could be on the Shadow Dragons team, even though he did go Super Saiyan 4 in the Baby Saga, but that would just be too crazy OP. That would just be nuts.
Yeah, because you're adding three Super Saiyan 4s, of course, and they all could counter at any given time.
Yeah, but actually, man, if you really think about it, it wouldn't be that bad because you're talking about then building pretty much a mono team, and mono teams are kind of not the thing right now. Mono teams kind of pale in comparison to categories, so it would work. Having an agility, the new whatever blue form it is, having it so you couldn't necessarily link it to other Super Saiyan Blue Vegetas because let's face it, there's a ton of Blue Vegetas. But having it so it can link with Super Saiyan 4 and be this like catastrophic mono team. Hell, even with the new free to play counter Vegeta would even be pretty sweet on that team. Man, that would be awesome.
I mean, yeah, it could be. However, what could his mechanic be for the game? Because let's face it, this Vegeta could do anything now from what we've seen in the show. He can attack. He basically he does the AOE and not kill himself anymore. He can do anything with this card.
Well, and that's another thing that I guess we forgot to mention. We were talking about that the other day. Is that he would almost have like a God Tanks level, or like God Tanks, Strength Cell, and all those guys, where the amount of ki changes the type of attack, and almost like Majin Vegeta, where he has the AOE with the final explosion. Something like that would be a really amazing thing. But I mean, we're talking about building a unit that is pretty much now game breaking. Is that too much? Is that maybe why we haven't seen the unit yet? I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. They tested this out with STR Cell, and not a lot of people posed for him.
Well, that's true, but STR Cell was only like just a regular mass damage. It's not like Broly who had, the LR Broly who had the colossal damage with the AoE modifier. That was pretty crazy. It's taken a while for them to
You
catch up to
remember
that.
it? Akatsuki could do anything with that unit. They could probably just give him mass damage, and that's it.
Well, and remember, we've seen two major super attacks out of him at this point in the show. We've seen the final flash, which was amazingly powerful, and we've seen the final explosion, and we've seen some other base level key attacks. But those are the two big ones that we've seen out of Vegeta. And it would be a crime not to include both of those. Now, whether that's one and then he awakens into the other, that's a whole other decision. But it almost feels like a crime not to include both of them, at least in my opinion.
I was thinking of with March when this whole show will end, they could probably do a double Dokkan Fest would include the Jiren as one and the new Vegeta because I doubt they'll put Ultra Instinct Goku as the inner featured card again.
No, they wouldn't. I would highly doubt it. Goku would probably be on another banner because that would be pretty crummy to. Oh yeah, here's a dual Dokkan Fest with an old card. Yeah, no, I don't think they're gonna be that cruel, especially not to their JP, which is their. We've already discussed they baby JP way too much, but that's an argument for another day. Huh. So yeah, I mean, all in all, I think we're in agreement. It would make a ton of sense for them to drop this big event that now has the Jiren and the new Vegeta with all these Dokkan awakenings. And another valid thing we were looking at a moment ago, we don't have a Tournament of Power story yet. We have the lead up, but it ends at basically right after they recruit Golden Frieza. So we're way overdue for that story. So it'd be a great time for them to be like, here's a bunch of new SSRs, pad the game with that, because let's face it, we're overdue for just a bunch of scrub SSRs.
Well, in that story event description, it said they will update that more and more when time goes on. So we could possibly see that story and keep updating when in March.
Well, excuse me. I was watching another video. I believe it was The Truth that was saying that he thinks it's going to trickle out. And I tend to think when it comes to these awakenings, I think these awakenings are just going to come at one given time, kind of like they did for Global back in December, where they just dumped a whole bunch of reawakenings on us. It would make more sense for them to do that, and then start put those put those medals in that story event. Put those medals, have to farm some medals from the other Dokkan events, things like that. That makes more sense to me than for them to be like, throughout the year, oh, here's this, here's that. Don't forget we exist, because I mean it's Dragon Ball. It's a franchise you can't deny. Either way, I guess, I don't know. Do you agree with me? I think that something big is coming, and it's going to be a big event, and it's going to be crazy hype. But we're probably...
Yeah, absolutely on that one. Because they're just hyping Tournament of Power up now. With the spoilers they're shown in Jump magazines, they're hyping this up.
Yep.
So there's got to be something in Dokkan soon.
Yep. All right. Well, awesome. Good talk, man. I appreciate you being here. Do you have a social media or anything like that you want to pimp?
Don't really use my social media anymore. They can just find me in your Discord.
Okay. Well, we'll put a link to the Discord down below. Guys, come to the Discord. Say hi to JLX. How do you want to be called?
He said, JLX is fine. That's all.
All right, man. Well, I'll put a link to the Discord in the description below. We will hopefully see you there. And we're going to see you in about 6 weeks, whether we're right or wrong. Either way, the next episode of Super will probably be out by the time this releases, so I don't think we'll have time to make a hype video for it. But good talk, man. I appreciate having you on, and I hope to be able to do this again.
I appreciate it. I'll be back soon, no doubt.
All right, and to the rest of you out there, make sure you do like, comment, share, subscribe for more quality content like this, and hit the little thumbs up for, if not at least me, my man JLX, because he brings us some. He's the one who brings me animations and all that stuff. He brings us some crazy good information. All right, guys, you know the deal. Birdman Booker, and we will both lay your ass out. We will tag team you next time.